So this is my first run of the game Ironsworn, and I am using the amazing software, the Augur. There'll be a link in the description below. And I'm playing as my character that I've created with the help of the rules, called Morian Canara. And I'll introduce Morian to you now. So he's been raised by his grandparents, well, his grandfather. His grandmother isn't around. In fact, I haven't thought about that. Perhaps just died of exposure or something like that. Maybe died quite soon after Morian's parents died. You see that the reason Morian lives with his grandfather is that his parents were killed by a beast when Morian was just a baby. So I'd never really thought about his grandmother, so perhaps she dies from the shock and sadness of her daughter dying. And so Bastian is the village messenger. He's Morian's grandfather, but he's the messenger, so it's his job to breed the ravens, and he trains them to send them out on over long distances to send messages to other villages, other clans, perhaps request help or resources, arrange the trading of goods. But Morian is Bastian's apprentice, and he's been learning the ways of a messenger, learning to care for the ravens and train them. Bastian has one eye and great scars down his back, but he refuses to talk about these injuries. But as Morian was growing up, some of the other children perhaps heard stories from their parents, rumours, and they passed those on to Morian. That actually his grandfather got these injuries, he lost his eye, got all these scars from trying to defend Morian and his parents from the beast that killed them. Some children have rumoured to him and overheard that this was a chimera, very rare beast. Some believe that these things don't even exist. And Bastian certainly never confirmed or talked about this to Morian, and refuses to talk about it if Morian brings this subject up. But this does fit with Morian's recurring nightmares, that he dreams often on an evening that he's being attacked by a bear sometimes, but sometimes a wolf. But as he entered his teenage years, the dreams became more vivid, and he started being attacked by a wyvern as well. So this kind of fits with that idea that a beast made up of multiple parts. What he also sees in his this reoccurring dream is Bastian coming to his help and saving him, trying to save his parents, and he sees Bastian in his dream diving out of the mist onto the back of this beast and plunging a spear into its back, and then Morian's vision is blurred by a swarm of ravens that come and block his view, so he doesn't actually see the last dying moments of his parents. In his dream, just this beast rearing up against them, and Bastian on its back trying to save them. Morian has heard other village members complain that their clan was once great but has declined since Bastian lost the clan's relic, and of course Bastian refuses to talk about this, and it's again just rumours from some of the other apprentices around the village and the other children growing up that Morian has heard this, and perhaps Morian was bullied a bit as he was growing up, and all he knows is that above the hearth of the fire in their house, that there is a spare space for a spear. Perhaps the soot has left the imprint of where it should have been, the outline of a large spear, but Bastian refuses to talk about this. and none of the other villagers, the adults, won't talk about it, and some of the children, like I say, do hint that it's all Bastion's fault, that we're not great anymore, my mum starved because of your granddad, those kind of things. Bastion is a kind and loving grandfather, and Morian loves him dearly. So that's one of my bonds, is to Bastion, his grandfather. He absolutely adores him, loves him, perhaps frustrated that he won't tell him more about how his parents died. He'll tell him stories of their life before and how happy they were to have a son, and cherished him, but that's as far as he'll go. He won't talk about anything leading up to their death. However, learning to breed and train ravens is a boring and at times smelly occupation, so yeah, he resents that a bit, but that's his lot in life, that's his job. In the village, it helps him pass the time, it helps him spend precious time with his grandfather. He likes the bonding that occurs when they're training the ravens and breeding them and spending that time together. But sometimes Morian has to spend time by himself because Bastion disappears, sometimes for days, sometimes weeks on end. Morian knows his grandfather is out hunting beasts, and this is because he's heard from his perhaps up in the loft where Morian sleeps and is pretended to be asleep, but he has overheard conversations, bartering, pleas to Bastion, please help us, maybe only picking out key words, but of these whispered conversations in the dark at night, perhaps down around the dining table in Bastion and Morian's cabin. But these strangers have pleaded with Bastion to go out and perhaps slay a beast or rescue a loved one's body and bring it back to them. Or perhaps go out and rescue someone that's still alive, perhaps captured by a beast, maybe very rare, but that's been one of the requests, or just a hope, please bring them back if they're alive. And Morian suspects that Bastion has brought back more bodies than he has live victims. And when Bastion is away, Morian daydreams that he is a beast slayer like his grandfather, often neglecting his chores and perhaps throwing a bit of feed to the ravens and quickly mucking them out before he goes to his little hidden place in the woods where he has carved out the beasts from his dreams, and he fights them and trains and spars with these imaginary beasts while Bastion's away. And then that inspired me for my potential inciting incident. So that's where we're going to start in that Bastion has been away for 6 weeks now, which he's never done before. Morian is becoming increasingly worried about this. It's the longest time that Bastion's ever been away from him, and Bastion never tells him where he's going. He just says, I've got an errand to run, supplies to get perhaps, or sometimes bluntly, it's none of your business, boy. I suppose we begin with Morian, waking up on the first day of the 7th week of his grandfather being missing, and he hears a tap 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 at the door, and Morian rubs his eyes out. Grandfather, is that you? And he gets out of bed and quickly pulls on his breeches and runs to the door to hug and welcome his grandfather. But there's no one there, and then he feels a tap tap, a pecking at his feet, and he looks down, and there's Muggin, his grandfather's companion, his raven that he takes out with him, always together, Muggin and Bastion. But there's Muggin, and Morian reaches down to take what Muggin has in his beak, and Morian reels back. no, no. It's his grandfather's eye patch, and it's absolutely caked in dried up black and red, caked blood. Clearly been quite a while since whatever happened to his grandfather happened, but his loyal companion has returned back home and delivered this to Morian. So this is where things might slow down a bit, because I'm new to this game. So let's think about the moves I need to make here. So what would Morian do? He'd want to find out some information, but this is gonna be my vow. He's like, he swears to himself. Perhaps he's got something round his neck, something that the one and only thing that he has left of his parents. What would that be? It'd be some kind of maybe something. Both his mother and his father had these iron, just little love hearts. It's quite charming, really, but they're split in two, and when they were together they could join them, and it was perhaps a symbol of their marriage, their bond together. And so he wears them round his neck, and he grips them now, and he swears on his parents' lives, on their bond and his bond with his grandfather, that he will swears an iron vow on these, that he will find his grandfather. So looking at swearing a vow, when you swear upon iron, which I've just done to complete a quest, write your vow and give the quest a rank, then roll hearts. So let's have a look in the Augur. Where are my vows? Here we go. So I've already, this is his kind of, I think it's like their history vow. So Morian, he's maybe never said this to Bastion, but he holds it in his heart that he is going to kill this chimera, this beast that's killed his parents. But I'm going to add a new one for today. Find Bastion. Find his grandfather. So looking at this table here, I'm thinking troublesome might be a bit too easy. A challenging quest with a small number of obstacles, dangerous, and involved quest with several tough obstacles. Well, he's potentially 6 weeks away. I'm thinking formidable. You know, he could be a week's journey, several weeks' journeys away from Morian's location. Then, when he reaches him, God knows what he's going to find. When he gets there, is he going to find this a terrible beast that's killed his grandfather? Is he going to find his grandfather, injured, dying? Seems like dangerous just doesn't cut it, really. But what is my vow? Find Bastion. I suppose that does drop it to danger. I suppose it's just finding him. It's not dealing with what's there. It's finding him. So I'm going to go for dangerous, actually. So finding Bastion. His current vow. Where is my grandfather? I need to find him. So swear an iron vow. So I've set it a target. A quest rank, going to be dangerous. Now, then roll plus hearts if you make this vow to a person or community with whom you share a bond. Well, I share a bond with Bastion. So I think down here, how do we do this? So I'm going to add 1, then roll heart. So heart 2 plus 1 equals 3. And I rolled a 4 and a 2 on, what do you call these dice? I've forgotten what you call these dice. So we call these the challenge dice. So I've rolled a 4 and a 2 on a challenge dice, and I've rolled a 2 plus 1 is 3. So a weak hit. What did it say for a weak hit? On a weak hit, you are determined, but begin your quest with more questions than answers. Take +1 momentum and envision what you do to find a path forward. So, +1 momentum. There we go. And envision what we do. So, it's, you know, I think it goes without saying that he's determined to complete this vow. He's got to find his grandfather. It's the only living relative he's got left. What would he do? So I think the obvious thing to do is gather information. He hasn't got a blooming clue where Bastian has gone. He's got no idea. He never tells him. So he needs to gather information. Where has Bastian gone? Who might know where Bastian has gone? So when you search an area, ask questions, conduct an investigation, or follow a track, roll +wits. If you act within a community or ask questions of a person with whom you share a bond, add +1. So I think he would probably begin first by searching the cabin. Now, in my mind, I've imagined that there's a locked cabin as well outside, which is Bastian's perhaps private area, workshop, and Morian is forbidden from going there. I don't think he'll search that yet. Well, no, let's combine that into... Should we combine that into a roll? So he's going to search the cabin, and he's going to search Bastian's private area, locked area. This is so concerning. He's going to go against all instructions his grandfather has given him, and he's going to search in Bastian's private workshop. So let's roll that. So if you act within a community or ask questions of a person with whom you share a bond, add +1. So I think I can add +1 here, because this is it's within my community, it's within an area I'm very familiar with. I think that makes sense. Roll wits. Okay. Now I'm pretty good at wits. Oh, but it's still a weak hit. I rolled a 4 +3. Why didn't I add my +1? 4 +3. Didn't add my +1, so really I should have scored an 8 there. But it would still be a weak hit because the other challenge dice was a 9. So it's a weak hit. What happens on a weak hit? On a weak hit, the information complicates your quest or introduces a new danger. Envision what you discover. Ask the Oracle if unsure. Take 1 momentum. So, what I'd like to ask the Oracle is, I'm really interested in what's in Bastian's secret workshop that he won't let me take a look at. So let's see what options are available to me here. Okay, so construct renown. Let's just see if there's any other tables. Choices. Ooh, it could be carry to goal. Make an agreement. Ooh, I like that one. So, well, let's go. What was the other? So, make an agreement. There's something in there that gives Morian a clue that actually, oh, it was the strangers in his receiving area, in the dining area, while Morian was up in eavesdropping as he does. He has found the contract, the agreement. He's found it between the people that have commissioned Bastian to find this beast. So what did they commission him to do? Hunt. Perfect. Hunt Bond. Hunt Bond. What could Bond mean? Well, these are people that Bastian has a bond with, and that's why he's agreed to hunt whatever it is that they've they've asked him to hunt. Now, I think we've got. Perhaps there's some details here. So, what the monster did attack livestock? Because we're up in the hinterlands. That's going to be a serious problem for people who live in this area. This beast has been attacking livestock, so these people know Bastion has got a history of this kind of thing. He's good at this kind of thing. It's whispered, it's not spoken out loud, but in the dead of night people will come to Bastion and ask them to help with these kind of problems. And this is the problem they're having, is perhaps some local farmers are having problems with this beast attacking livestock. Sounds quite simple to begin with. And they've tried to stop it by mystic words or rituals. So perhaps they've come to Bastion. He's kind of the blunt end of how you solve this problem, is go out and kill this thing. But maybe the Ironlanders in this area, they don't like killing these beasts. Maybe bad things come of these. There's curses. Stories of things that go wrong if you mess with nature. These people live in the wilds. They know that you shouldn't really go around killing wild animals and the beasts that live in these areas if you can live in harmony with them. So perhaps they went to see a mystic first to try and appease this creature, maybe giving offerings, completing other tasks that this mystic told them to do. Frightened to inaction. So that's just basically these people that have commissioned Bastion. They're just farmers. Ironlanders are tough, but they're so frightened of hunting down this beast. Perhaps they've caught sight of it and they're just petrified of facing it. So monster size, because it's a large beast. They've caught sight of it, maybe devouring their livestock, or they've just seen what it's done to their livestock, ripped to pieces, great chunks taken out of them, parts missing. Maybe they've just been left with a head sometimes. So monster's primary form. It's a mammal. Okay, so it's not some kind of mythical beast. It's a mammal. It's natural, perhaps. Maybe just a huge version, a large version of something. Monster's characteristic: armored, bony, or segmented. I like for some reason armored came straight to me then. So I'm imagining all this is in the contract, perhaps, or let's say the contract that these farmers have agreed with Bastion, and maybe he's taken notes of their evidence, of what they've asked him to do. Maybe this is in Bastion's log of all the beasts that he has hunted, and Morian's eyes are wide. He can't believe he's flicking through them, but he's gone straight to the latest entry because he's worried about his grandfather. But then maybe this is something. In fact, he's going to take it. Maybe just instinctively, this is a wealth of knowledge. He's flicking through it. His grandfather's drawn diagrams. He's drawn. He's described how he defeated things. Sometimes how he's let them go, and the respect that he had for these beasts, these animals, and sometimes the hatred as well. And I think Morian couldn't resist keeping this. Perhaps somewhere in here, some clues to the beast and his vow to kill the Chimera. I'm just wondering if is this a milestone already for killing the Chimera? Perhaps he's got some kind of information already. This is quite important that he's got this log. Maybe we'll address that later. Maybe he'll have a better look through it for information about finding and killing the Chimera that killed his parents. But for now, let's just concentrate on finding Bastion. So what can this monster do? So Bastion has made some notes that he knows he's got incredible strength, speed and stamina. Maybe it's been bringing down quite nimble livestock. So to do so, it must have these features to be able to bring those creatures down. Incredible strength, speed and stamina. He's just tearing down these creatures. So it has to be fast, has to be strong. I'll tell you what's really speaking to me is this blade wing. Clearly armoured, clearly speed, fast, stamina. So I think in Bastion's notes, this is what he suspects. Listening to the farmers, what they have described to him, he thinks it could only be a blade. Well, maybe not only. Maybe he has made some notes, possibly a deep rat, maybe a shroud crab, and these things Morian's never heard of. What are these things? There might be squets if he flicks through, maybe sketches, carrion newt. But at the top of the likely list is a blade wing. Okay. So, what did I get? I got a weak hit. So, the information complicates your quest or introduces a new danger. Envision what you discover. So that's what we've discovered there. Possibly quite a dangerous creature, a blade wing. That's out there that Bastion has gone hunting for, but it doesn't help us with the location. But at least we know the people that have commissioned Bastion. Okay, so I think Morian is starting to panic a little bit. Has he done the right thing here? What if Bastion's coming? This has all been a mistake, and Bastion's just a mile away or so, and he's nearly home, and he's going to find that Morian has broken into his private areas, been rummaging around his business, and Morian's starting to panic here, I think. And what should he do next? And I'm wondering if he should go visit the two farmers who he's found their contract with Bastion, asking them to help rid them of this beast that has been killing their livestock. So I think I'm going to ask the Oracle if Morian knows these two farmers. Oh, here it is, down here, look. Ask the Oracle. So I don't know, maybe it's 50-50. It's a small community. Maybe Morian would know of them. So I'm going to go 50-50. It's a no, he doesn't know them. The two names on the contract with Bastion, he doesn't know who these people are. So I think he's left with no other choice. He's going to have to go see the overseer in the village and try and figure out who these people are. So let's get some names for the two farmers. Myra Verena. So Morian discovers that Bastion is indeed a beast hunter stroke slayer. Two farmers have asked him to dispose of an armoured, fast and agile beast that is killing their livestock. They've consulted with a mystic at first, but to no avail. Bastion has agreed to this contract stroke vow. Bastion suspects it could be a blade wing, a carrion newt, or a deep rat. And Morian doesn't know. So Morian doesn't know who these farmers are, but he knows their names from the contract, the vow that Bastian has sworn. So I think we need to go see the overseer. So while we've got the names up, let's get a name. Avella, Eleri. Now, what kind of relationship does Morian have with the overseer? Ooh, and that cares oppress others. So I think I will interpret that as perhaps Avella, Eleri. We know this village is in decline. Perhaps Avella is struggling to hold onto her power, and that is leading to her oppressing others, the other villagers, the other clan members. So maybe there's quite a bit of disquiet amongst the village and her followers. Perhaps she's not a very popular overseer. So for that reason, Morian's going to be quite worried about going to see her. I'm perfect. I've just rolled cocky on the character description. So they're cocky about it, and that's often the way, isn't it? Someone who's cocky is actually deep down quite insecure and worried about their position, maybe very anxious. So Morian makes his way to the overseer's abode, stronghold. But I think first you don't go see the overseer without having some kind of tribute or something to bargain with. Morian may be young, but he knows this. He's learned this from Bastian, so I think he's going to have to try and secure an advantage. So I think definitely I'm looking at making preparations to go visit the overseer, gain leverage, trying to encourage the overseer for her to help me. And I think I'm probably looking at charm here, aren't I? It's a weak hit. Okay, so what was that? I rolled a 4 plus a 1. Not a bad roll really, so that's a weak hit. On a weak hit, your advantage is short-lived. Take plus 1 momentum. So I'm going to say that. Well, let's roll. Let's ask the Oracle what it was that I was looking for, and then we'll figure out did I actually find it. So, what kind of thing would Avella, Eleri, the overseer, be swayed by? Well, let's see if character goal inspires me. Spread faith. So she, Morian knows that she wants to get people to believe in her, have faith in her. So what could Morian bring that could help bargain with that? Perhaps an argument that if she helps, that would show strength and leadership to the rest of the tribe. So that's what he's going to try. He's going to try and approach the overseer and say that by helping him bring back Bastian and return the messenger a important role within the community, and her taking decisive action to help Morian to bring him back. So it's a weak, maybe goes with that kind of weak hit. It's a weak plan. He doesn't have anything he can give her, anything physical. It's just he's going to try and persuade her that this is the right thing to do. So that's the information that he's gone out with. So he approaches the overseer's habitation. Morian, long time no see. What brings you here? And Morian explains. Avela, I need your help. Well, the whole village needs your help. Bastion is missing. He's been gone nearly 7 weeks now, and his raven has returned. Muggin has returned with his eye patch covered in blood. I fear he's in danger somewhere, or hurt, or worst. I need your help. The village needs your help. So what would we be without the messenger, the breeder of the ravens? We'd be isolated here. Let's see if this works. This sounds like a compel. So when you attempt to persuade someone to do something, envision your approach and roll. If you charm, pacify, barter, or convince, roll heart. Add 1 if you share a bond. So we both have a bond about the village and have used that word, the village, helping that. So I think it's definitely charm. I'm kind of lying, am I? No, I'm not lying. I think I'm definitely charming here. So that's a miss. Oh dear. So on a miss, they refuse or make a demand which costs you greatly. Pay the price. So pay the price. A surprising development complicates your quest. Oh, okay, a surprising development. Well, it's that surprising. I can't think of anything, so I think I will ask my Dungeon Master's Apprentice. Ooh. A monstrous infant. And the location is in the stable yard. What if the beast that is actually roaming around attacking the livestock is actually something that was born in the village? I think that from behind the tall chair of the overseer out steps the mystic, the village mystic, and Morian is petrified. He dislikes this mystic greatly. A really spooky old lady, grey hair, maybe one buggly eye, hunchback over, and she looks at the overseer. Let's find a name for this mystic. So Deshi, the village mystic, points a crooked finger down at Morian. Boy, you know nothing of your grandfather. Bastion, just over 6 weeks ago, came to us before he left on his little errand for the farmers. He knew the farmer's story didn't add up. He consulted me and the overseer. I consulted the bones, and I discovered what those farmers had been doing. Breeding animals with their livestock, trying to find the perfect breed, the perfect specimen. Well, they bred something they weren't quite expecting, didn't they? Dabbling with forces of nature always has a backlash. We ordered your grandfather to kill those 2 farmers, punish them for cursing our village once again. Too often have those farmers brought abominations to this land. Oh yes, they have quite the graveyard of strange creatures they've created up there. None so violent as their latest creation. Morian is completely shocked by this. Why would my grandfather agree to something like that? He wouldn't murder people. I don't believe you. Laughs the overseer. But boy, you know nothing of your grandfather. He's done terrible things for this village in the past. I tell you why he does this. To keep a roof over your head.
Who do you think owns your cabin, boy? It's me. And Morian's, what? What? Oh, yes. How do you think a raven breeder affords such a cabin, such a lifestyle in Bearmark? Morian, he just hangs his head now. He'd never really thought of it. Never really understood that food had to be paid for. Never really understood until this point that the messages that they send are very, very rare. Maybe once or twice a year. Now he comes to think of it, that not many messages need sending. Now he realises why Bastion has to go out and hunt these beasts. Avella points her finger at Morian. I am ordering you to go to that farm. If you want clues of where Bastion is, start there. But I want you to report back to me. I want to know if he's carried out my orders and killed those 2 farmers and all their livestock. The farm is 6 miles north of here. Follow the trout beck. You know the one. I've seen you tickling trout in there. Report back to me on what you find, and pray your grandfather has carried out those orders. If not, well, my pigs need a new winter home, and your shithole of a cabin would be perfect. So, I think, this is so disheartening. I think he needs to lose a spirit here, so I'm going to mark him down a spirit. Oops, don't want to roll that. How do we... there we go. Lost 1 spirit. But I think this should be a milestone. So, because he's discovered quite a few things now. He knows there's a contract. He discovered the contract that Bastion had signed with these 2 farmers. He knew there was some kind of beast out there that his grandfather was hunting. Been to see the overseer, and the revelations he's discovered there. The farmers have been dabbling in breeding beasts with their livestock to try and improve the line. And sounds like not the first time they've created some kind of abomination, but this one has created results that have turned against them. He's also discovered that they don't own the cabin, that the overseer has so much power over them, and Bastion. And he's found the location of the farm where the farmers is, and has been ordered to go make sure Bastion has murdered these 2 farmers and their livestock. So I think that's definitely a milestone. So Morian leaves with his head hanging, just mind racing with this information. He returns to his cabin, grabs his spear and a few supplies, rations, things like that. But he's not going far. He's only going 6 miles north, and he quickly finds the trout beck. He's spent his childhood tickling for trout in there, even swimming perhaps in the warmer months. So he knows it well, but never knew there was a farm further north following the stream. He'd never been there. I'm getting the picture that Morian's quite, even though he's a grown man now, he's turned 18. He's never really ventured far from here. So yeah, quite naive, quite wet behind the ears. Maybe overprotected by Bastion because he lost his daughter and Morian's parents. So we need to undertake a journey to this farm. So if I remember rightly, tracks. Farm. And we're just going to have this as troublesome. It's only 6 miles north in an area he kind of knows but has never ventured that far north. Perhaps he was forbidden, actually. Perhaps the villagers and Bastion knew there was something not quite right about those farmers. So he's always been forbidden of venturing that way, because 6 miles doesn't seem far for an almost grown man to have not been that far. So perhaps he's ventured further in other directions, but north he was told, don't go that way. Perhaps the stories and the instructions are starting to make sense now. Some of the other children were told stories of creatures that would get little wandering children if you headed that way. But the real truth was these farmers were maybe known for dabbling with breeding their livestock, and maybe everyone kind of turned a blind eye because they benefited from that. Maybe the livestock that this village relies on is quite a strong breed, so they kind of turned a blind eye to the freaks that sometimes were created, or the beasts that were captured to breed with them. Journey. When you travel across hazardous or unfamiliar lands, set the rank of the journey, so I've done that. Then for each segment of your journey, roll plus wits. If you are setting off from a community with which you share a bond, add +1 to your initial roll. So let's do that. So, a weak hit. Did I have my +1? No, it didn't. So that would have been a strong hit, actually. So I think you roll first, then add it for some reason. So that would have been a strong hit. So that's good. On a strong hit, you reach a waypoint. If the waypoint is unknown to you, envision it, ask the oracle. If unsure, then choose one. You make good use of your resources, mark progress. You move at speed, mark progress, and take +1 momentum, but suffer 1 supply. I think the waypoint is the boundary of where Morian has been allowed to go. So he's reached that boundary. He knows he's on the right track, but now he's starting to get nervous. He's going beyond anywhere he's been allowed in this direction to go before, and I think he would be going at speed. He's anxious to find his grandfather, find out that not only is he safe, but what on earth is going on. So you move at speed, mark progress, and take +1 momentum, but you suffer -1 supply. So yeah, he now he's into strange territory. Perhaps all the children and many of the adults have obeyed the instructions, so the path that he's following the beck suddenly just disappears. No one really goes beyond this. There's a perhaps faint path that perhaps the two farmers themselves follow, and maybe Bastion followed. I don't think I'll roll for any sign of Bastion. It's been nearly 7 weeks now, so I don't think there'll be any sign of anything. There's no footprints in the snow, but there's perhaps the little depression. It was quite a large depression of the path that everyone follows, maybe to tickle trout or collect water from the stream, but it suddenly becomes very faint. But Morian continues to follow it. So I guess we undertake a journey roll again to see what happens next. So roll for wits. Adding 1 because I'm leaving a area that I've got a bond with, but it's still a weak hit this time. So this time on a weak hit, you reach a waypoint and mark progress, but suffer -1 supply. So mark progress, but -1 supply. So again, representing how quickly he's rushed out. And what could be the waypoint this time? So perhaps a waterfall that he needs to scale. The stream has reached perhaps a larger pool, and in front of it is a waterfall, and the path seems to vanish here. It's not clear how he can get round this. Perhaps the cliffs go for quite a while, but all he's been told is that he's got to follow this stream, so I guess he's going to have to climb it. So I think this is a face danger roll. I mean, I would imagine in these temperatures there's large icicles. The water's still running down this waterfall, but a lot of it's frozen. The cliffs are covered in snow, and there seems to be no steps or anything carved into it to get above this, but he's been told you've got to follow this stream, so he's going to have to try and assess this situation and make his way up this waterfall. So I think certainly not with expertise, but he's going to look at the cliffs, try and carefully work his way up these cliffs. I'm certainly not going to go with speed, even though he is in a rush. I think he's going to slow down and try and take this carefully. So a weak hit, lucky. So on a weak hit, you succeed but face a troublesome cost. Choose one. You are delayed, lose advantage or face a new danger, suffer -1 momentum. You are tired or hurt, endure 1 harm. You are dispirited or afraid, endure stress. You sacrifice resources, suffer 1 supply. I think there's a theme about the supplies here, isn't there? That he's rushed. He isn't prepared for this kind of thing. He's never really done anything like this before. And maybe he's been off adventuring, but never with stakes so high. So for me, I think the one that stands out there is the -1 supply. So he reaches the top of this waterfall, but he's scratched. He's dropped things perhaps to represent the glass of supplies. Things have dropped down and he's seen them tumble, but he's made so much progress he can go back and get them. So we've only got 2 supplies left. This isn't looking good, but he's made it to the top. So do we mark progress there? I don't think we do we? So I think we'll make another journey roll now. So once again, let's roll wits, but I get to add 1 because I've left somewhere I have a bond with. It's the only thing that's going for me, I suppose. A weak hit, thankfully. Did that rescue me? 2 plus that. No, it was a weak hit without that anyway. So on a weak hit, you reach a waypoint and mark progress, but suffer -1 supply. Oh, this is getting bad. He was so under-prepared for this journey, but I think the waypoint he has now reached is I think we're going to roll. I'm going to risk it. We've nearly filled this progress track, so I'm going to risk reaching the destination. Has he reached his destination? Has he got to perhaps the top of a hill, followed the stream, and now he can see the farm? Let's roll a progress move. So let's see if he's reached his destination now. I'm going to risk it. The progress tracker is almost full. When your journey comes to an end, roll the challenge dice and compare your progress momentum. Prepare your progress. Momentum is ignored on this roll. So let's roll and see what happens. Don't have +1, so let's turn that off just in case. A strong hit. Yes! On a strong hit, the situation at your destination favours you. Choose 1. Make another move now, not a progress move, and add +1. Take +1 momentum. So he reaches the farm. What's the situation that favours him? Well, there's no beasts there to kill him. And perhaps the thing that favours him is that there's no bodies, there's no sign of a fight, there's no dead bodies, there's no blood, there's no sign of his grandfather, but there seems to be no murder that's taken place here. So Morian's thankful of that perhaps his grandfather hasn't carried out these orders, but there's no livestock here either. So I think what he needs to do next is investigate. +1 from reaching my destination. Can we delete that? And gather information. So when you search an area, ask questions, conduct an investigation, or follow a track, roll +wits. If you act within a community or ask questions of a person with whom you shared a bond with. Well, I don't think I can claim I'm in a community anymore that I share a bond with. I've beyond the boundaries that I'm used to. So let's roll wits, but I do get +1 because of the bonus from reaching the end of my journey. So that's a miss. Does my +1 change that? No, it is still a miss. Now let's burn some momentum. Can I do that? No, I can't even burn momentum because I've got a momentum of 6, and that's not high enough to cancel out those dice because they're higher than 6. So on a miss, your investigation unnerves a dire threat or reveals an unwelcome truth that undermines your quest. Pay the price. So, I mean, the unwelcome truth has got to be that the farmers are dead. So he's looking around the cabin, and he just can't find any clues. He starts investigating outside, and there, sure enough, are 2 graves with the names of the farmers on simple little wooden stakes on the ground. I was going to say crosses then, but I guess that's Christianity, so just wooden stakes in the ground, perhaps with their names carved into them, and I think well, let's see. I'm interested to see what rolling pay the price brings up, but I think this should probably be a loss of spirits here. A person or community you would care about is exposed to danger. Actually, that's perfect. The person I care about is clearly my grandfather. I think what Morian, from that pay the price, what he sees is a mark that he recognises as a little token of affection between him and his grandfather. Maybe behind these 2 graves is a tree, and carved on the tree is the rune that means an affectionate name for Morian. What would that be? They breed ravens together. Little raven. He's carved that on the tree. So Morian's leaps at that. That's clearly his grandfather's been there. He's gone from low spirits, seeing these 2 graves that his grandfather's killed, murdered these 2 farmers on the order of the overseer, but sees this little sign on the tree, so he rushes over to it and looks at it. Below it is a little hollow in the tree and a rock covering it up, and so he removes that rock, and there's a note. There's a note from his grandfather, and he lays it all out. If Morian, my dear little chick, if you have found this note, then it's likely I'm dead and I haven't returned from my contract, my vow. I have vowed to kill a strange beast that these two farmers have created. I was ordered by the overseer to kill them, but believe me when I say they were already dead when I came here. Morian, you must not return to our village. I have disobeyed the overseer's orders, and she will surely kill you if you return this news to her. So Morian continues to read this letter from his grandfather, and to represent that, I've off camera set up a delve. And so Bastian explains in his letter that he pursued this mutant beast, and that he was heading to the Shuddering Cave. That's where all these farmers' creations have tended to go and hide out. And Bastian explains this isn't the first time he's had to destroy one of the farmers' creations, and maybe he has a little rant about why the Mystic and the Overseer tolerate this, but it brings in money and keeps a roof over their head. And then at this point, Bastian forbids Morian to pursue him. He explains that this place is a frozen cavern called the Shuddering Cavern. He knows that there are likely to be other creatures in there that he hasn't been able to destroy before. Sometimes he's returned without killing these mutants. None have been as bad as this one, as powerful and as vicious and as murderous as this one. He explains it's a frozen and wild place, and he forbids Morian to go there. He warns that it's full of spiders and trogs and deep rats and probably cave lions. That the Morian has never been anywhere like this, and do not follow me. If you are reading this, it is likely that one of these things has killed me and will easily kill you. Do not mourn me. Do not try and recover my body. It is only the hollow shell of the man I was. I loved you dearly, my little chick, Morian. But do not return to our village. And he names two people that will help Morian and take care of him. They're Bastian's trusted friends. And this surprised Morian. He's never heard Bastian talk about these two people, but Bastian talks about them in ways that they've fought together in the past, hunted together in the past, trust them with his life, and that they're aware of Morian, and out of respect for Bastian they've kept their distance, but will take Morian under their wing and protect him. And that's where I'm going to end this game, because I've got a session with my two friends who are going to be playing alongside me. So this has been kind of a prelude. So I'm not going to name their characters because they haven't made them yet, but they know Bastion well, and they know Morian, but they've kept their distance. Maybe Morian's met them and didn't realise this close bond and relationship they had with Bastion. So I'm going to send this video to my friends and hope that their characters may be willing to swear a vow to help Morian, because Morian is going to take no notice of this letter whatsoever, and he's going to go after Bastion and try and save him, or at least recover his body. So I won't detail where the two other characters live, because I don't know yet, and what their names are or what kind of characters they are, because I'm going to leave that up to my friends to do that. So absolutely loved this system. I'm sure I'm getting it completely wrong, but yeah, it's making complete sense. It's working. I'm engaged with my character already. The mechanics are fun to use, and they work. I'm invested in the character. I'm imagining I'm there in the setting. It's really good. Really enjoying this, and the software is fantastic. The Augur facilitates that so well. So stay tuned for the next chapter of Morian's adventure, hopefully with two other friends.